Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about reactive forms of carbon. This channel will be switching to organic chemistry for a while, so the molecular biology related content will take a pause for a little bit. The main three forms of carbon that I want to talk about are carbon ions, carbocations, and carbon radicals. So first, I'd like to talk about carbon ions. As the name suggests, a carbon ion is actually an anion itself, so the molecule over here is an anion. If we see down here, I draw out the Lewis structure, and it has a net negative charge. This makes the molecule really reactive. Another thing to note is that it's a very strong base, and it's actually stronger than hydroxide. If we look at the diagram itself, we see that there are 3 single bonds, also known as sigma bonds, with 2 electrons per line. On the right over here, we see that there are non-bonding electrons, also called the lone pairs. If we want to count the formal charge of the carbon in the center, we know that carbons have 4 valence electrons, and instead of using the complicated formula that you may mess up on, there's an easier way to actually calculate the formal charge. It's by counting the single bonds and then also counting each electron. So instead of counting this as quote-unquote 2, we can count that as 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then count the 2 individual electrons, 4 and 5. So we just do 4 valence electrons minus 5. That gets us a formal charge of 1 for the center carbon of a carbon ion. So next, I would like to talk about carbocations. And just like carbon ions, as the name suggests, this is a cation basically, and has a net positive charge. This is because, as we know, carbon has 4 valence electrons, so that means it should have 4 electrons around its shell. However, in this case, carbon only occupies 3 electrons, and because of that, the formal charge of carbon becomes positive 1. And just like carbon ions, the formula is essentially the same, has this H3C backbone, but in this case, we have a positive charge because of what I just mentioned, and this species is also very highly reactive. And finally, we have a radical carbon. This also has the same general formula of H3C, and the dot here represents that it is unpaired. It has an unpaired electron, basically. The Lewis structure is also the same. However, this is a net neutral molecule with no positive or negative charge, but the reason that this is still very reactive is because it does not have an octet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this was the first video of organic chemistry, and I'll be posting those for a while. So if you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.